What's up, guys? Animega here. And, Animega here. I had something caught in my throat. And I have the episode 11 review of Duel Monsters, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters for you. And the name of this episode is entitled The Dueling Monkey, which obviously you know what this episode's about, because I'm sure most of you have seen this. It's about Joey. This episode and the next episode is really, it's kind of like it's not truly a two-parter duel. It's like how do I say it? Most of the duel takes place in this episode between Joey and Rex Raptor. And the story is basically that Mai is still mad and jealous about losing to Joey. So Rex comes up and challenges her. And he wants to duel her for destroying him on the ship, with her perfume trick. But she says she won't duel Rex until he defeats Joey. And so that's how the duel takes place. And I just want to get through the 5 points through this and give the rating and the episode MVP. So, first point, Tristan's voice actor change in this episode. Yes, it is well known that his voice was very funny and silly in the first 10 episodes of the show. And they changed it, and Greg Abbey took over, who was Tristan the rest of the way. And of course, famously, Yusei. Everyone knows he was the voice of Yusei too. But anyway, Greg Abbey takes the role over for Tristan, and it was so for the better. His voice is incredible as Tristan. I love him so much better than the voice actor for him in the first 10 episodes. The first 10 episodes, he sounded like, "Hey guys, it's Tristan." He was like that, and now he's like, "Hey Joey, you need some help?" He's like that. So Greg Abbey was an infinitely better choice. It was so smart of 4Kids to change the voice that early, especially right before this episode. They must have known it was a Tristan Joey centric episode. And this is the first moment we realized that Tristan can actually duel, because we saw Taya duel and she beats Joey, but we hadn't seen Tristan duel yet. He just kind of is like, he's just the best friend that's always there. So that's the first point. The second point, this point's going to take the longest because I'm very emotional. I get very emotional about this. The second point is a few things. Joey and Tristan's backstory and fight, and the memories it reminded me of the VHS tapes I used to have when I was a kid. So, and all the different quotes in this episode also. So Joey and Tristan's backstory and fight. So obviously Tristan makes fun of Joey during this episode when he says he wants to take on Rex. And the music's always funny when Rex shows up. It sounds like it sounds like I'm at a bar or something. And so he shows up, and Tristan basically just disses Joey and says, "I'm sorry, little Joey can't come out to play today. Maybe if we can, when he grows up, we'll arrange a play date or something like that." And then Joey shoves Tristan, and he's like, "What is that for?" And he just runs off, and Joey just starts the duel without Tristan. And Yugi goes off to chase him, and while that's happening, there's a very emotional talk with Yugi and Tristan about Joey learning to grow up to be a big brother to his little sister. And and there's this backstory, a very cool backstory that shows what Tristan and Joey's life used to be like. They were just basically thugs, street thugs, who had hearts of gold. Even back then, they had like a manly code, and Tristan showed up whenever Joey's in danger. I'm sure the opposite happened also. And so Tristan showed up when Joey was in trouble, and the voices for the thugs in this episode are incredibly funny. He's like, "This don't concern you, head job." How did he say it? Yeah, "This don't concern you, head job." And and when Tristan gets there and the fight starts with all of them, the hilarious part is in the background, one of the thugs is little Yugi's voice, and he's like, "Mess 'em both up." That was great. And so there's that, and this gives me so many memories of the VHS tape. And the soundtrack when Joey's realizing that he's like, "Man, Tristan was trying to help me all this time." And that soundtrack, that emotional soundtrack that plays several times throughout the show, really gets me emotional because it brings me back to the early 2000s when I was popping in VHS tapes of this episode. And I think this was on the Give Up the Ghost VHS tape, because you normally with a VHS tape, they only had the title of one episode, but there was like 4 episodes in it. And this was like the second episode in that one for Give Up the Ghost. And so yeah, it just brings back so many memories of the early 2000s. And I just popped in the VHS tape. Oh, man, just great. And of course, the last thing at this point I need is a couple other lines. Joey's line in this episode was really funny. A couple of them that he said. It always stuck with me how he said, "Cop him up like he was a big turkey." He says turkey, so we're a turkey. And dinosaur, get it? Dinosaur. He uses that line too. That was really cheesy, but I loved it. So that was the second point. The third point, it was a really back and forth duel. I know it doesn't end this episode, but it was so back and forth. Rex starts off destroying Joey. Joey summons Leogan, but it still doesn't work against. And it looks like it's already over when he loses Baby Dragon at the beginning of the duel. And then Rex still is stomping him. And finally, Joey gets a monster out Accelerator that can crush his two-headed King Rex. But then, of course, Rex comes back with Mega Zowler that destroys Accelerator. And so many field power bonuses. I think this is the most field power bonuses shown in one duel. This was a lot of field power bonuses. And it was just back and forth, back and forth. And finally, Joey gets the upper hand with Flame Swordsman. How, if you're Rex Raptor, do you not know that flame or fire is the weakness of dinos? That is such an amateurish move by Rex himself. So that's the third point. It's just a back and forth brute force duel. The fourth point, the battle guard combo, when Tristan shows up, he's like, he gives Joey the thumbs up. He's like, "Thanks for everything, man." I love that part. That's just a quick moment. That basically harks back to the second point of mine. The third point, and it's what I'm drawing right now. The very end of the episode, where you think Joey's out in the clear, out of the woods, and you see Rex laughing. He's like, "Yeah, celebrate while you can because your party's about to be crashed." He does that whole line. That basically, I think I recited it word for word, because you see Red Eyes' shadow in the background. But back then, I had no idea what this monster was. I knew it was a dragon, because you can tell by the shape, and he was really cool looking, but I couldn't tell what he was, like what kind of monster he was or how powerful he was. I was like, oh crap, Joey has a whole lot more to deal with. This ain't over. So I just wanted to draw this for the episode. I felt it was very appropriate for it. The ending was very much a cliffhanger, and I loved it. And I believe this or the next episode was the last episode they dubbed in the first year they started dubbing Yu-Gi-Oh, like 2001. And I think this is the last episode until 2002. And so yeah, there's a little fun trivia. So if I had to rate this episode after all 5 of those points, this episode brings so many nostalgic memories to me. It's an amazing duel. It's just straight up beat 'em up, back and forth duel, like a lot of Joey's duels are. And if I had to rate it, though, it's not as iconic as, say, the last 3 episodes before it. I'm going to put it 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10, I think, is what this episode earned. It has a lot of good moments. Red Eye showing up, Joey and Tristan's flashback and fight, Yugi and Tristan's talk, Joey finding out how to be a duelist by himself. It was very crucial for Joey, and that leads me into my episode MVP. The episode MVP is definitely Joey. Tristan, close second, but definitely Joey's number one. Just all his lines, the dinosaur and the big turkey. I love that, all of it. And of course, calling Rex an attack dog. And so yeah, this starts his and Rex's rivalry. I love this episode, but I would say 8 out of 10 episode MVP is Joey. And this was a really fun episode to record. I love this episode. And the next episode is going to be, I believe, Trial by Red Eyes, which is going to be another fun one to do. And it concludes this duel. So I'll see you guys for the next one. All right. Bye.